I'm gonna be running 4 YouTube channels tonight for the first time in 2 years. Finally, my soul was fed. I got to run Dungeons and Dragons. Hi everybody, my name is Noah, but you may know me as Knee on the Rocks. I am a content creator's content creator. I have a YouTube channel dedicated to making better content. I also run a music channel where I play these beautiful saxophones that I like to call Knee on the Rocks music. And I have a podcast channel where I interview other creators in the industry. And as of this video, I run a D&D show. I've been running Dungeons and Dragons since I was in college, where I ran way more games than most people do in a lifetime. I probably spent more time reading D&D books than I spent reading textbooks related to my major. It's not a joke. Unfortunately, when it comes to out of college life, there's not much opportunity to get all of your friends together week after week to play several hours of Dungeons and Dragons. But I've been chatting with some friends for a few months, and we all got consistent schedules with work, and they all decided they wanted to make the drive to my place every week. And now, if everything goes well, we're going to be playing Dungeons and Dragons every week. Tonight was what I like to call a session 0. We created the characters that are going to be the party for our campaign, and then we ran a small little hook to get them interested in the adventures I'm going to lay out before them. This video is going to assume you know a little bit about Dungeons and Dragons. I may make a video for all the people that are coming over from my other channels to get invested in Dungeons and Dragons, learn a little bit more about the terminology I'm going to use, but basically all you need to know is that all of my friends are playing characters in a world that I'm creating, and I am what's called the Dungeon Master, and I'm going to be taking them on many adventures through a world I've crafted over many years. Campaign takes place in a setting I've worked on since college called the Mystic Realms. My first 2 long-term campaigns run over the course of a year each were ran on 2 separate worlds, and now I've taken those and made them continents in a new world with a new continent in between them, merging all 3 of them together. Our adventurers are Anton, the human death cleric, Mose, the mountain dwarf fighter, Sven, the human ranger, and Naivara, the Stormborn storm sorcerer. Stormborn are a homebrew race of mine. They're said to be like humans, but have distant dragon's blood and giant's blood running within them. Party starting at level 3, and they have some adventures behind them that we did not play through. This gives them the opportunity to have a little bit of an established connection to each other, so we're not having to pretend like they're meeting for the first time. Though Marina, who plays the Storm Sorcerer, and Larry, who plays the Death Cleric, haven't met before. Marina, by the way, has never played Dungeons and Dragons before, so we're giving her a little bit of a crash course. And I warned her that Sorcerer wasn't normally a class that people like to play on their first time because of the complications of the magic system, but she decided she wanted to dive right into it and is doing pretty well. She did very, very well for her first encounter. We weren't originally going to play at all tonight since we were creating characters, but we all got done around 10 o'clock and we decided to go ahead and run. It's 2 in the morning, by the way. We decided to go ahead and run a small session. The heroes were in a tavern celebrating when suddenly gnolls attacked. Now, essentially, Anton, the Death Cleric, played by Larry, noticed something was off about the partying going on and decided to take a step outside with the rest of the party when they were jumped by hyena men called gnolls. Now, they don't know why the gnolls were there. In fact, they never really asked, and they didn't really have time to think about it. More on that. We ran our first combat with the gnolls. It went really, really well. I think the players are going to find out that I don't pull any punches in my Dungeons & Dragons campaigns. We really went hard, and they almost died. One of them went down, in fact. The cleric went down. Now, part of it was that the Dwarf Fighter and the Stormborn Sorcerer were taken out of the fight for the first couple rounds because they were on the other side of the tavern searching when the battle broke out. Once our Storm Sorcerer was into play and started casting things like Shatter and Thunderwave, the gnolls were in trouble and retreated shortly thereafter. Once the Cleric was brought back up and everybody was trying to recuperate and chase after the gnolls, they heard something interesting. I described it as something like a beat of a drum on the air. They quickly realized it was the beat of wings, and that a castle to the east was Lit up in flames, a dragon was attacking their city in session 1. Not having the time or the resources to abandon the city, they had to take shelter in the tavern, which luckily had a wine cellar. And that's where we ended our first kind of session. I think the party dynamic is very solid. I think everybody picked characters they really know how to roleplay, even our new player, Marina. And I think I sufficiently hooked them into the story. What they don't know is that these are only the beginning of some serious monster attacks on human lands. And this city being destroyed by a dragon is going to have some major consequences for the kind of politics that they're going to find themselves running into. See, this city was kind of a merger between the humans and the elves. This was called Vinculum, or the Bond in Elvish. The lord and lady of this city were half-elf diplomats that kept relations between the human and elven kingdoms. Now that the city is destroyed, we're going to see human and elven conflicts come up in the middle of monsters ravaging the land. Sven, the ranger, played by appropriately Hunter, decided he was going to put Hunter's mark on one of the fleeing gnolls, so they're going to be able to track them in the morning. So next session they plan on tracking the gnolls and seeing where they come from, which will hook them far deeper into the monster's plans. All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned. Next week we will have a video of our session along with the next campaign diary. Take care, and I'll catch you on the flip side. It's 2 in the morning. Have a jazzy night.